Hey, skiers and snowboarders of the Southeast, this is meteorologist Brad Penovich with your ski and board update for this week. We went from a cold weekend to now kind of a dreary, misty start to the work week, and for a lot of us, this looks kind of desperate right now, but this is not all bad news. We've got moisture moving in, and it could be a little bit of an icy mix in the North Carolina mountains. But as you get up into West Virginia and into Wisp, we're actually seeing a little bit of snow right now. Let me show you a look at the surface observations. We're getting a few reports of some ice and sleet mixed in around Wisp, but probably around Snowshoe, a little bit of rain mixed with snow. But this is likely going to be snow later tonight as this cold air starts to shift east for our West Virginia, and Western Maryland resorts. But down here in North Carolina, this looks to be a cold, miserable rain. But it's not all bad news in this setup because there's actually a pretty strong Arctic front with a ton of cold air moving in on the backside. You see this cold air sitting over the plains. I mean, look at that air mass. Temperatures below zero. So another shot of really cold air is going to be moving in probably late tonight and early tomorrow to most of the Southeast. This Arctic front is moving in this general direction. And the one thing it's going to do for sure, it's going to spread in the cold temperatures again, really starting late Wednesday, but for Thursday, Friday, and for most of the first half of Saturday. So that's 3 whole days we're looking at of really good, ideal snowmaking conditions moving in with this system. Now, as the system approaches, there's a couple other things we're watching as it gets closer. The potential for maybe a little bit of ice on Saturday, especially in North Carolina. You see tonight, this is our future cast here, or the GFS model, a little bit of a wintry mix in the Virginias, but this is all solid rain down in North Carolina. But don't sweat it. Here comes the Arctic front. It starts to move in really tomorrow, and this is going into tomorrow morning. You see the snow spreading into Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, and even North Carolina, the northern resorts, especially Beach and Sugar. So here's the setup. This is all going to be snow right here early on Wednesday into Wednesday afternoon. And so as we go into the afternoon, you see the snow persist for a while into the evening hours as the Arctic air, which is spilling in. I mean, this is a huge Arctic high coming down the plains. And look at this northwest flow. Look at all the moisture getting picked up off the Great Lakes. So this is really good news for the areas in those northwest flow favored areas like Winter Place, Snowshoe, Wisp. I mean, we're talking pretty significant amount of northwest flow that will persist through Friday and really go. Let me back this up a second, because one thing I want to show you is early on Friday morning. Look at the line of snow setting up from Wisp all the way down to likely Cataloochee and Ski Over. I mean, really good setup there for probably a burst of, I would say, down in North Carolina, 1 to maybe 2 inches, and this is looking at a 4 to 7 inch amount up in this area. And on top of all this, it's super cold, remember, so we're making snow like crazy here as we go through Friday and even into early Saturday. But on early Saturday, the thing that starts to happen is the Arctic high gets into that cold air damming regime, we call it. The high kind of moves over the Delmarva Peninsula. There's your high, and there's your northeast flow banking up against the mountains. Still plenty cold up here for snow, but down here is where we got to watch for an icy mix as the moisture starts to come in from the north and west. You see it all snow up in the Virginias, and again, the model's probably not handling the moisture lift over this wedge really well. But here comes the icy mix. This is Saturday morning into Saturday afternoon, so you're looking at ice here, and likely ice mixed with rain here. So late Saturday is starting to look a little icy, and it may last icy for a while until Saturday night and Sunday. Then it changes all the rain ahead of this big storm system. So this will be kind of a weird weekend. It's going to start super cold with great conditions Thursday, Friday, early Saturday, and then Saturday night into Sunday and probably early Monday. We're going to see almost a spring-like setup with gusty southwest winds and a pretty strong front coming through. But here's the good news here. Even though this is a really warm, wet setup for Monday, the cold air moves right back in behind that front. So the one nice thing I like about this pattern we've seen so far in December, we've seen plenty of cold. Even when we've seen warm-ups, they've been short-lived and the colds come roaring back. So really good setup here, and this is going into early next week. This is the week before Christmas, by the way. You can see snow, northwest flow snow and cold air entrenched across the mountains of the southeast. And I'll go out a little bit further as we go towards the weekend before Christmas. Looks like a flat ridge, so by then you're talking temperatures probably near average, nowhere near the blowtorch we had last year at this time. And then it flattens out even further, and you can see it's cool. It's not super cold, but it's not super warm. So really good setup here. At the end of the week, here comes the Arctic front and the Arctic high. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, first half of Saturday looking great. Then we go into Saturday night and Sunday, and here comes the warm air again. But the nice thing about this, honestly, is that we get to see this very, very active pattern of fronts and storms and cold air. So it's not just dreary, kind of flat, zonal flow where we're not getting cold enough air to make snow, and we're not getting natural snow, and we're not getting any storms at all. So the good news here is, even though there's going to be some warm-ups mixed in, we've got potential for big snowmaking operations starting tomorrow through the weekend, or first half of the weekend, I should say. Some natural snow, brief warm-up, and then more cold air and possibly some more snow that week before Christmas. Hope you're having a great start to the week. Keep your fingers crossed. If you're heading to the mountains this weekend, the earlier the better. The later in the weekend, the wetter and warmer it's going to get. But good snowmaking. I think we're going to lay down some more base, which is going to help a lot of the resorts kind of weather, no pun intended, some of these warm-ups we're bound to see as we go towards the holiday. As always, have a great day and think snow.